Not your average tabletop. Woohoo!
And now we will get to our rankings, which
Yes.
will probably be a little bit faster.
So,
kind of just fly through them.
So any sane person would have just skipped to the timestamp of the rankings.
Right, that probably went on a little longer than expected, but oh well.
So rankings. There's 6 films. Rank them from worst to best. In case they skip it, let's make this part extra good.
Yes.
Maybe we'll just cut everything out and that was for nothing.
But yeah, so I'll start with my number 6, and that is Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom. So the second one of the second trilogy.
Yes.
I felt like it was pretty forgettable. There's a couple things, like you said, the intro where they're running off the cliffside, all the dinosaurs running with it. That was a pretty good scene. But I felt like everything after that in my mind it just was kind of not there. The only thing I really remember is that one dinosaur headbutting to get him out of the prison, and then also I think there was a bad guy that was in the cage at some point in the film and got eaten there by that whatever raptor thing as well.
Indoraptor,
whatever it was. So I felt like that was the least memorable for me. Not really too much. I don't know. It was interesting that they did this sort of started to explore like a black market, but I just didn't know it felt like it worked because it was supposed to be rich people all getting these, and I just don't know how that would work. I don't know. Because then if they all started parks, I don't know. It could be. I mean, competition is good, but I don't know where they're going to have all these parks.
That was supposed to be kind of secretive, but still they contacted a lot of billionaires across the world.
Right.
It's interesting. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know.
So it's fallen a little deep, or it falls a little flat for me.
It's Fallen Kingdom a little flat. Yeah. I guess, should I go my 6, or should you go through the whole thing? I guess what would work?
I can go through my whole thing, I suppose. Yeah. So then, after that, it's actually Jurassic World Dominion.
Oh my gosh.
I think I might have hyped this one up too much for myself, I think.
Yeah.
Especially knowing I'd come off of that second one kind of being the low point at that point. I should have kind of known that it probably wouldn't reach it, but I was hopeful because all of those main characters were from the other films were coming back, and I was hoping that it would kind of bring some of those nostalgic things, which it did. But I feel like sometimes it leaned on that a little too much and didn't really make a good.
Yeah.
Instead of making the story make sense and do that, they just kind of did those things just to do them.
Yeah.
And it didn't, even though sometimes it didn't really make sense in the situation they were in, but it was just like, well, we're going to do this just so that we can have that moment.
Yeah.
And then I think the fact that Locust was like the main thing of the story, pushing it and stuff, it just it felt really weird to me.
Yeah.
And then to kind of redeem the BD Wong character, and I don't know if he needed to be redeemed or not. To me, I always was like, I wish he was kind of the big bad. I was hoping he would be kind of like the final boss, but then instead too, another thing kind of along with that, I would have rather him been a big bad villain, BD Wong.
Yeah.
Instead, they use this Tim Cook guy who we never really.
Yeah. He's supposed to be the guy that the traitor had given the stuff to in the
original
Barbasol can in the original.
I think
so. It's kind of tying in, but I think it would have been better to tie it in with someone we actually saw, like BD Wong.
Right.
I think. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what. I don't know. It just. Yeah. I think it's another one that kind of fell a little flat. There were definitely some good moments and stuff, but I just think like you look back at kind of the first one that was made 30 years before it, and it didn't feel like, with all the advancements and stuff that have been made, that it used them well enough to, I don't know. Like if you had both of those movies coming out at the same time now, even though the one was maybe using older stuff and the one was using newer stuff, I think that one would have done better.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe not.
I'm not sure.
I mean, obviously, with the same characters in that wouldn't make sense, but
yeah, it'd be
along those
interesting
lines.
if someone did that.
But yeah, it was good, and it had a moment. It was nice to see those characters back and whatnot. And then it just felt like I felt like there was no character that really got the spot. I mean, because you were trying to give everyone moments, and then it felt like almost no one got really solid moments.
Yeah, I think everyone did get moments, which is good. But yeah, if you had to say who was the main character, I don't know if I could tell you. And I don't know if I want you there to be a main character.
Right.
But yeah, it's almost Tim Cook.
Right. And then I think just my last thing would be the fact that for a 2.5 hour movie, for how little Blue was in it, and like you said, that was probably one of the main relationships in the whole trilogy. To not have Blue in the movie except the beginning and the end just felt wrong to me.
Yeah, I think I would have liked them to bring Blue with them. Mm-hmm. Like, they try to get on a plane or whatever. No, Blue shows up, she sneaks onto the plane like Jeff Goldblum's daughter did.
Right.
First, I would have preferred that.
Because, it felt like it really sucks because I wanted to see more of Blue. And, he didn't really... And even Beta, it's not like Beta took the place of Blue while they were the only one. You didn't even see Beta though most of the time either. So and then for number 4, now this is taking just as long, 2 hours. I'll fly through these next ones. Jurassic Park 3, I think, is my 4th ranked. It's good. It's like you said, I think it's one of our probably our second most watched. So I think I remember a lot of things from it. But at the same time, just the characters in the ones are way... I mean, like you said, I don't know how the mother survived that whole time. Yelling out and running off and screaming and didn't really make sense. I didn't mind the rest of it. I liked the fact that, the kid had kind of survived it. That really doesn't make sense either. I don't think the kid would have survived there. But maybe. But I did like that he was there and whatnot. Maybe it would have made sense if he was a little bit older. But then I don't know. I think they probably would have still went after him. But I think the rest of it was pretty good. The Spinosaurus was good. Trying to think. Grant's involvement in it, I think, was pretty good. I think bringing him back, they still made him seem like he was, the smartest one there, which was good. I think because they could have tried to make him, if they had brought him back and then he had been making some of those stupid decisions and kind of like ruined his character, then that probably would have been really bad. But I think the fact that they kept him, being the smartest, even though, getting through it. But then, I think the ending was just part of like, I don't know. It just wasn't as good as the first two, I think. But so then we get to my number 3, and it is Jurassic World. So the first one of the second trilogy. I really like that because, like you said, it felt much like Zoo Tycoon. It is, in my opinion, by far the best one in that trilogy. I don't want to say it, but I almost wish that had been the only one in there and they had never done the other two.
Wow.
I think it's that much better than the other two. And the other two I feel like almost drag it down because, like, as they go, I feel like I like his Chris Pratt's character less and less. Not because he's doing anything wrong, but he just becomes more and more blah.
A little too serious for Chris Pratt.
Yeah, I think that might be what it is.
Especially with Guardians as the contrast.
Right. Yeah. And that might be what it is. And then I also am not the biggest fan of
Bryce Dallas Howard.
Bryce Dallas Howard's character. I think she kind of drags it down for me a little bit because she goes from being this businesswoman to we're supposed to believe that she just becomes this badass.
Yeah.
Like, especially going into then the second and third one. Like, the first one, she's still not fully. So I can believe it in this one a little bit more. Yeah. I don't know if I believe it so much in the other ones. Because she's almost, then to the point of Chris Pratt. And I don't know. Maybe she... I guess I don't know what she did before that. But I just assumed, since she had gotten such a high position there and whatnot, that she had kind of been focusing on that and working that her whole career. But, I don't know what I think of her character. It just... I don't know. Something about it just does not work for me. her and Chris Pratt, there's just something about that relationship that just doesn't feel like like it should. I don't like actually going back to Jurassic World Dominion. I would have much rather Chris Pratt ended up, even though I knew it was never going to happen, because it makes no sense. But I'd have rather he ended up with that pilot person. That to me made way more sense.
Yeah,
felt like it made more sense, even though she was only in one film and hadn't been in a relationship with him since the first one. So, but whatever. But yeah, so that was my number 3. Then my number 2 was the original Jurassic Park movie. I think this one is still amazing. I think my top 2 are pretty much pretty close to equal for me. It just kind of is preference because we probably watched number 2, like you said, more than the first one. But the first one is so solid, especially from being made 30 years ago. It's just crazy how well it stands up and how I think it really has, stood up against these movies that were made in the last I don't even remember when Jurassic World came out, but within like the last 5 years, even 5 to 10 years.
Twice the budget, much more advancement, technology and everything. Yeah,
and it still has such a solid storyline. A lot of the things that happen, like you said, make sense. It doesn't feel like one of, if you thought of another dinosaur or horror movie, usually the storyline just doesn't make sense. It's like they do things that don't, like no normal person would actually do, whereas this all felt very natural.
Yeah, and even when they put themselves in danger, it felt like they actually had to. Like they had to go out and get the electricity, even though there were raptors out there.
Mm-hmm. Right. And it feels very, very iconic. It feels like a very iconic film. There's things in it that you still think of today, see today, lines you use today. And then, my number 1, Lost World, Jurassic Park. Mainly because of those 2 scenes to me that we talked about with the cliffhanger and also the rounding up of the dinosaurs. I think were just really solid scenes. The only thing that hurts this one and could maybe bring it back down below the first one is just the ending feels very tacked on. I do like the thought of it going there, but it just is like...
It doesn't feel like the natural.
No, it feels like the beginning. It feels like the beginning of a new film.
Yeah.
Right after, when they are kind of rescued or whatever, and then they're loading that T-Rex onto the boat, and the boat hits or whatever. The boat hitting and stuff feels like it should have been the beginning of a new film of dinosaurs running on the mainland. Is what it felt like it should be.
Yeah.
But instead, they did that in 15, 20 minutes or whatever at the end of the film, so it kind of did a little bit of stuff, but then brought it right back to the ship, and was able to send the ship off.
I guess I'll talk a little more about that a little later.
Oh boy.
My number 6 is probably, like you said, our second most watched one, and I'm just going to start off by saying I really, really enjoy all 6 of these films. I think they're all great entertainment. Some are better quality, undoubtedly, than others, but I really like them all. My number 6 is Jurassic Park 3. This is probably maybe my favorite growing up, maybe second favorite, but just as I watched it more recently, just the ending so abruptly. Just bothers me, and I think the whole Billy character stealing the eggs and just kind of is ambiguous. Did he die? That just feels weird. He felt like a really blah character, and just kind of William H. Macy. I really like. I like a lot of the characters. Even annoying mother is a good character, I guess, for what she's supposed to be.
Right.
And it's a pretty scary film actually with that Spinosaurus. I really like that as the antagonist. But yeah,
the pterodactyls.
Yes. But yeah, he kind of lights the river on fire, and it just goes away. And I guess that's kind of the climax of the film. Although it feels like it should be more of a battle, I feel. And then it just kind of tacks on resolving the raptor eggs. And then over to the beach where the military shows up. And just as the more I watch it, the more that ending bothers me. That it wasn't just some big spectacular thing. It just kind of whimpers out. My number 5 is probably going to upset you. This is Jurassic World. Jurassic World.
Wow.
I don't know why, but ever since the first
He's
time
wrong.
I watched it, until I watched it most recently, I liked it a lot more the first time I watched it, or the most recent time I watched it. But the first time I watched it, I remember being kind of disappointed because I'd grown up with the films, and I'm just like, that didn't really deliver the iconic moments. The military guy felt kind of generic.
Mhm.
The Raptors are really cool, but I don't know, it just didn't feel that iconic. As I rewatched it, I did like it quite a bit more, kind of seeing the Zoo Tycoon feel like we talked about, and that final battle I really appreciate. And like I said, I love all these, but this is the one I'm least attached to of the three.
You really put the second one. I could see, okay, you could maybe like the third one more because of all the stuff. I want to. What's your next one?
My next one?
If it's not the fifth one.
My next one is close, but it's Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom.
Okay.
It's just, when I think of this one, I think of them running away from the volcano, and I'm just like, I just really love, when I saw the trailers, I'm like, okay, this one's going to be better than Jurassic World. This one's going to have more action, more epicness, kind of be to Jurassic World what, I guess a little spoiler, what The Lost World was to Jurassic Park. Just more kind of chaos going on, and it did deliver that. Chaos in writing as well, because it's a little all over the place at times. But like I said, rolling away from the lava, tranquilized, is just very funny. That comes to my head when I think of this one. Running from the flames comes to my head. And even that battle in the mansion, I do like, with the scary dinosaur, not monster, sneaking around. I don't know. This one hasn't bothered me like it has bothered a lot of people. I enjoy it quite a bit. Better than Jurassic World.
Well, that's wrong. That is big time wrong.
And then my next one, number 3, is Jurassic World Dominion. I don't know. I didn't feel like it would be this high. But just as we were going through it, we were able to kind of forget about a lot of the dragging on of the Locust story and focus on the highlights. So I think that's kind of pushed it up and just really put in my head the moments that I did really like. It doesn't deliver everything I wanted. I wanted dinosaurs on the mainland. It even cut out that intro that they had released, like the first 5 minutes a ways back, kind of like millions of years ago, how the T-Rex got defeated and then a mosquito gets its DNA, and I'm like, why'd they cut that out? That would have been a much better opening than just like news sequences.
Right. I don't know what the...
Apart from that, the dinosaur on the mainland stuff is great, and there's a lot of great action. I love all these characters together. But sadly, it's all about locust and espionage and all that, to where I thought if they did just focus on dinosaurs on the mainland, action, 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 I was like, this could be in my top 10 films of all time. So it was quite a disappointment, but still, it had a lot of stuff that I really liked. And my number 2 is the original Jurassic Park. One that I hadn't really seen much until we started building up for this, and then I watched it a few times in the last year, and I'm just so amazed at how it holds up. All the sequences are just perfectly shot, perfectly set up from scenes before. It's just flawless. I would say it's pretty much a perfect film, other than that T-Rex sneaking into the dang building.
Right.
Yeah, it's just, I would say safely the best of the films. If I just had to be objective, it is the best of the films.
I would agree.
But it's just not quite the one that I'm the most attached to. That is The Lost World, Jurassic Park. I think, those scenes, and I think it's just more constant in the action and in the excitement. And that cliff sequence is one of my favorite sequences in all of any film. It's just and there's quite a few of those sequences as well, and I don't mind the ending as much because it does give me dinosaurs on the mainland.
That is true.
Which I do want, and it didn't introduce locusts in those 15 minutes that it did add on. So yeah, I really enjoyed it from start to finish. Yeah, just for a lot of the reasons that you already said. Yeah.
Yeah, so that is all the Jurassic Park films.
We agree on the top 2, but everything else,
we totally flip around, disagree, pretty much. Almost.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think overall they're all pretty good. I think they're all worth watching once, at least.
Yes.
To see if you like it.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know.
Yeah.
They are, outside of, maybe those first 2, I would say the rest of them are maybe more of, I don't know, popcorn film. Yep. Like we said, I don't know that any of those other stories are, and even the second story, a little bit of, But, the rest of them are probably more popcorn films than anything, which is good. It's what I think a dinosaur movie should be most of the time.
Yeah.
But and it doesn't get too goofy anymore.
No.
I wouldn't say. Not sci-fi goofy.
Even with clones and genetically mutated dinosaurs, somehow it still feels mainstream.
And it still keeps the danger factor.
Yeah.
Versus I don't know. I'm just imagining some silliness of an old school Godzilla versus Kong hitting him with a tree or whatever, stuffing it in his mouth. That's what I'm imagining, even though neither of those are dinosaurs, but that's just the type of goofiness I'm thinking of. But if you've made it this far in the film, or 2.5 in the film, it's the film. It's just as long as the
Jurassic World Dominion. Jurassic World Dominion was 2.5 hours. We're coming up on that here.
We've discussed all the films. But
don't watch any of those films. Just watch this, and you get everything you need to know.
Exactly. But if you're to this point, definitely give us a thumbs up if you want. Otherwise, we thank you for watching.
If you stayed this long. And we'll also tell you that, heads up, we will be doing giveaways in our top 50 of all time.
Of games.
If you stayed this long, you need the heads up. You deserve it.
Exactly.
So stay tuned when we do that. There will be giveaways. Go check that out.
Yeah, so definitely subscribe so that you see that as well when those pop up. But otherwise, if you want us to do more films, maybe shorter than what we did here. And only one at a time.
Yes, probably.
Or ranking film.
We are going to go through the entire MCU. 30 films and TV shows.
Okay, I think that could be a while before that. But maybe.
The 17-hour video. Guinness World Record longest YouTube video.
It probably still wouldn't be the longest. But otherwise we hope to see you on the next one. And as always, don't forget to
keep on nibbling
on our content.